Welcome back to Star Jam, everybody. I am Eric Campbell, and we are here with the Stream Punks, getting ready to continue our Spelljammer adventure. This has been a very confusing game because I named this game Star Jam, and I always want to call it Star Jammer Adventure, but it's not. It's Spelljammer. But we're playing Spelljammer. The name of the show is Star Jam. You'll catch on eventually if you haven't already. Let's see. What announcements do we have for tonight? We currently are getting close to the end of our campaign for this 6-shot adventure. So we're a little over halfway through now. I don't have any immediate announcements. We are creeping up closer to our show announcements, but I don't have anything right now. Does anybody have anything that they would like to announce tonight? And remember, we are in the future. Yes, Bonnie.
We are in the future, but it has been announced that Star Trek Prodigy is renewed for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. Also, there was a delay, but now I think we're far enough in the future that I can say my Kickstarter is live.
If Kickstarter is live, support Bonnie's Kickstarter.
Solo album. My voice will sound a lot better than it does now.
I couldn't believe how quickly it funded.
Amazing.
Yeah,
well done.
So. Wow.
This is like the 4th stretch goal.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh, how awkward would it be if it was like still at $20?
Impossible. You're too beloved.
That.
Okay, cool. So yes,
I'm not
definitely
putting
go
you
check out
off on
Bonnie's
applying
Kickstarter.
glitter. I'm so sorry. I realized the finger I'm using.
It's okay. GM is taking notes. Does anybody else have any announcements for this evening before we get started? Nothing? The only thing I have to announce eventually is that Pathfinder's coming up. I don't really have a day for that yet, so that's stay tuned. Yes, Sam.
Please check out Idle on Alpha on Fandom Tabletop, which is in its run now. It's with a bunch of super cool people, both whom I have and haven't played with, and the designer of the Cortex system itself. It's a really nice learning. So if you've been noticing a lot of Cortex streams popping up and you're a little curious about what is this system anyway, you probably want to learn it in a setting described to me as Hades plus Kaiju, and where I am playing an Endarch of the Siren cult. There. That and my flirting with my spicy rival Pirate Queen is the totality of my pitch. Go check it out. The details are on my Twitch about page, on my Twitter, all that good stuff. And check out PowerPlay. It's doing good stuff. But most importantly, remember, do not stay solely on the planet Earth. Go to space. I am in space now. I'm excited.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's adventure with Star Jam. This crew has found themselves in a very precarious position. They're currently on an ice world, a long-forgotten ice world, where they are searching for a pin that is being guarded by a white dragon. But supposedly this white dragon has also got some answers. The planet they are on is called Precipice. It is at the edge of realm space and is not charted on any known realm space map. It is past the realm of Akatha, which is the last known quote-unquote planet here in realm space. Precipice is a dwarf-sized planet. For anyone who is interested, because I created all this information, the year length is 340 months. It is 13 days at maximum speed from Homestone. And the days are only 4 hours long. So it spends a lot of time here at night. There is a lot of shadow that is passing over this world. Not only that, but this world, which was regarded, which supposedly was going to be an aquatic world, is in fact frozen. The only light that shines on this planet is the distant light of the sun of realm space, which at this distance is a ghostly pale little dot in the sky that casts this very faint ghostly light across the world. There are some that say it's even hard to tell when the sun has quote unquote set on precipice. The dragon that you were all here to have an encounter with is a dragon of some reputation from what you've understood. The creature's name is Kazada, and apparently Kazada has a relationship or a knowledge of at least Razan, the previous dragon that you had all spoke to, that directed you all here. Razan was the dragon, the bronze dragon that gave you all the shard of the astral traveler in exchange for the pen that you are going to need, supposedly that is in Kazada's possession. Countering the elves here has enlightened you all to the situation on this world. This used to be a vibrant aquatic world with no land masses, and a city that did stretch up above the waves for trade with other spelljamming and space-going vessels and whatnot, but has for the past 300 years fallen into total disuse. The city that you are all in right now is called Vedith. It is a city in complete ruins. It is frozen over and basically apocalyptic. It is a post-apocalyptic society living on this world. The elves that have lived here, they call themselves the Kailu elves. They're aquatic elves, essentially. They have been living under the shadow of Kazada for quite some time and are essentially barely eking out their survival of what is remaining of their lost empire. They function as hunting stock. When Kazada is not hunting the aquatic life here that sometimes wanders up onto the icebergs that float around what was once a tropical ocean, is now, when Kazada can't get that, Kazada eats elves. It's been an oppressive, horrific rule from this white dragon for some time now. Good times. After having a conversation with these elves, you've come to an arrangement. Thanks to the king's daughter, the elves have been incited into making a move against the dragon at last. You all need something from the dragon, and the elves are convinced that you're trying to get this thing from the dragon is simply going to lead to violence. There's no way around that. And the elves figure this is an opportunity to take the powerful outsiders that have just landed here and kill this thing once and for all. The elven nation, or what's left of it, is pretty divided on that point, because provoking the dragon could spell the doom for them all. But everyone has their breaking point. And the aquatic elves that live here, the Kailu, apparently have hit it long time ago. You've all seen the children that are living under thick blankets. You've all heard the stories of the sea elves that have been cut off from their original home city, which is deep beneath the waves, where the temperatures have gotten so low that not even they can travel there. What is left of this once vibrant, advanced aquatic elf culture is just decimated because of this dragon. And the desolation of this dragon is what has pushed these sea elves to violence. Y'all need this pen. When we last left off, an arrangement had been reached, and a somewhat, I would say, somewhat a stalemate. No one is outwardly hostile towards Celestine, just outwardly nervous and keeping distance. The elves have an experience with dragons. They're seeing a hatchling. Many of the children think Celestine is adorable and want to play with Celestine. Many of the parents are like, yeah, that's what they all look like when they're born. And then they grow up and kill everything. It's kind of the elves' attitude. So as a result, there's been sort of a mixed reception here, as you were all trying to not let Celestine behave like the murder kitten that they are. When we last left off, an agreement had been reached that you would all be equipped if you're going to encounter Kazada, and you were led back into the armory and the treasury of what remains of these aquatic elves and what they have in order to equip you all. The king has decreed, however, that none of his people are allowed to help you. He can't be associated with this attack on the Dragon's Lair. He'll equip you, but that's as far as he's willing to go. He's hoping that if you all fail and die, Khazad will spare the rest of them. It's a gamble, but it's possible. White dragons, not really the cunning, calculating type. They might just see what's in front of them and look past everything else. What you know about Khazad is information that you've learned from Grawl, your ranger. What you know for a fact is that this is from what you have learned from the Kailu elves, that this white dragon and Razan is that this is an adult white dragon, much like Razan was an adult dragon. And beyond that, it's hard to say. The elves themselves don't have a lot of information to give, except for the fact that Khazad is brutal. They've had very few verbal exchanges with Khazad beyond threats and imminent death. And Khazad really enjoys the fear of its prey. Is his favorite thing. As you were all being led back and deeper into the chambers of this sunken ice city, think of this as like that beautiful movie that I adore, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, except for ice. It's that, but frozen over and crumbling. It is an ancient advanced civilization that has been completely desolated by this white dragon. Instead of beautiful tropical pools and statues that are flowing with tears, you simply see frost and ice and people struggling to survive. You're led back into the rear chambers of this once great palace, and strewn about this place, you can see that the armory as well as the treasury has been divided up and categorized, but is largely forgotten. There's no economy here. There's really no places for exchange. So the areas that you were all led into, it looks like this is not a place that people go quite often. That doesn't seem to stop the strange sensations that are coming over you, Celestine. As you were all led into this open chamber, you can see what looks like hints of what may have once been security, like a vault door that is long since rusted or decayed and is leaning up frozen against a marbled wall. And you can see plenty of evidence of that this used to be a secure place for great treasures and art and artifacts. Most of it is gone. Not surprisingly, probably one of the things that the white dragon wanted when it made its lair here. But there are a few things that are here. You do see small little piles of silver coin and whatnot that have been pushed off to the side, enough that it's causing you, Celestine, to have strange emotions as you see them. There are sparklies in here. You are absolutely the Raven character from The Secret of Nim. It's a sparkly. There's sparklies everywhere right now, and you are just like looking at the glittering silver, catching the light of the ambient glow coming through the ice, and it's quite enchanting. Everyone's voices around you kind of become somewhat muted, Celestine, as you hear people talking. Yeah, isn't that important? There's shinies around here, lots of shinies.
Celestine sparklies.
Yes. One by one, you were all led into this room. The king who is walking before you kind of motions to everything, and he says, for some time we have managed to retain pieces of our civilization and our heritage. And in some cases, we've managed to save and occasionally create things that might help us should a fight with the dragon ever become inevitable. But we squandered the time that we had and lost the power to defy the worm. And now it rules without challenge. But perhaps some of the things that we held on to could be of benefit to you. Now, he moves over and pulls this old cloth that's somewhat kind of like rotted away, and he immediately, as soon as he pulls it back, you can see this large wooden chest. It looks like it has been beautifully carved out of like old ancient pieces of driftwood and rebound together using some pretty fascinating smithing techniques where metals have been come to fill in the gaps and the cracks and the crevices inside the splintered wood, much like gold being used to put back together pottery. In this case, it looks like electrum has been used to reform all of this old ancient wood. You hear the slight creaking sound as he pulls open this chest that fits about on his lap and reveals inside almost ritualistically placed inside of what looks like sculpted hands holding vials, a total of 7 of them. And he pulls one of these vials out and looks at it and says, "These are potions. They will give you resistance to the dragon's breath and to the frost that will gather within the lair. These are the last that we have of these. They are good for 1 hour once you ingest them, so use them wisely." And he takes a step back for you all to take as needed.
That's so very kind of you.
These will prove very useful. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I have to age myself. There we go. Yeah, it's better. No, I like this one. There we are.
Take
I grab it.
Wixel, I feel like you got younger.
Girl will take one of the potions in one of his paws, tuck it in his pocket or what, a pouch or whatever.
Okay.
Celestine will get up onto. They'll actually sit pretty first, like keep their claws to themselves, because I think they would instinctively have put their claws on a king's leg because the chest is in his lap.
Right.
But he's also. It's different with crew. So they're about to, and then they pull back and precariously balance and snoot forward to take it.
Okay.
And they'll sit back and I think look to the party like, someone got pockets for these, please.
I can put them in my little satchel with my yarn.
With yarn. As we're all getting all situated, are we planning on leaving today or are we spending the night? What do you think, girl?
I would ask how everyone is feeling resources wise. Do we feel like we can handle this now, or would we prefer to wait?
Well, I will say it looks like the little one's a bit cold. I know how to fix that. But it would have to spend the night here.
I'm a pretty fast
Or
knitter.
at least a few.
But not that quick. But I feel well rested. I got some good naps in earlier. What's happening?
I feel good either way. If it would help to give you a better arsenal to prepare us for tomorrow, though, Glamma, I'm amenable.
I have plenty of resources for all of us. I would suggest maybe leaving in a few hours. What is a dragon sleeping schedule?
Goodness, I don't think I know.
Then
but I imagine that they would.
Let's find that out, because that would be a great strategy. Find out when this dragon sleeps, or when it's trying to regain its power or something.
Yes, when it's a bit groggy or it's going to be cranky either way. Wow. Cranky. Cranky.
Extra cranky.
All right.
I know cranky.
Well, I'm gonna get us a place to settle down.
And I'm gonna waddle off and start performing a ritual.
The king watches you go and says, "Would the rest of you like to receive any items to help you?"
I still want things. I gotta get started.
Don't
Keep
worry.
an eye out for me, Wixel.
Don't worry, dear. I'll grab your things. I got it. I got room in this satchel for you, dear.
What is there on offer?
So the potion that you were all just given is a potion of frost resistance. For 1 hour, you will have resistance to cold damage.
That'll be
And
nice.
that's not just the breath weapon. That's all cold damage. So
Ooh.
you will take half damage from anything cold.
What about a cold shoulder?
Nope, you're screwed on that one.
Oh.
Those do
Potion of
psychic
tender
instead.
resistance.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Now, at this point, Celestine, the king looks at you and says, I'm not sure what I can give to you that you could use, little one, but I do see that you have what look like bracers, which is curious enough to see upon a dragon, and nods to the bracers that were a gift to you from the Star Jam Rangers, Celestine, fastened very comfortably to your front legs. But perhaps we can find something.
Celestine's eyes just keep flicking to the coins and back, like they're trying to follow the conversation.
You're like, the king's. You are so Celestine's pulling an Eric in this conversation. Okay, so one by one, he goes down and starts giving you all items to help. So essentially, what's going to happen right here is, as he goes down the line, I'm going to just read off the magical items that I'm giving to each one of you.
Okay.
Tevlin's going to hand to each of you a single magical item. So we're going to start with you, Bonnie. He withdraws, according to him, as he's telling you the story behind some of these items. Some of these are from trading, old trades that were made back when this port was open with the rest of realm space. So there's some pretty extraordinary things that he's handing you all. These are not just dummy magical items. So he holds out to you a what looks like a folded cloak of some kind, Wixel. It has a sheen to it. It's that kind of dark, like black, almost like panther fur like sheen there as he holds it out, and it kind of catches the light in such a way where you can almost see like a purple refractive light coming off of it. But not only that, but the light around it seems to shimmer and bend a little bit. He gives you a cloak. This is a cloak of displacement. Which do you know how to enter that onto your character sheet on D&D Beyond, Bonnie? Because I can pop it in there for you if you want.
Could you please? I was
Sure.
I was typing my notes so I can. I'm like, cloak
Sure,
of
no.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Technology is so confusing, you know.
Of Cloak of Displacement. I'm adding it. I'm going to go ahead and attune it to you.
Oh, I barely even know how to use the TikTok and your attuning things. Oh my goodness.
So you'll be able to use this right away.
Okay. Do I need to refresh my sheet? I'm going to refresh it.
Yeah, refresh it, and you'll see that I've put it on there. So what the cloak? So just give you a heads up, Bonnie, because I don't know how familiar you are with the Cloak of Displacement. This is literally one of the best defensive magical items in D&D. Basically, what it means is that any creature that attacks you has disadvantage.
I see it. Oh, I'm going to look so fashionable.
It projects an illusion of you that makes you appear to be standing in a place near your actual location, just like a displacer beast, which is in fact what the cloak is made out of, is the pelt of a displacer beast. If you take damage, the property will cease to function until the start of your next turn. So if it does hit you, that'll drop. So if you get if you're subjected to a multi-attack and you get hit once, it goes away and the rest of them are going to hit you as normal. But anytime anybody physically attacks you, not spells or area of effects, but if it's a physical attack, like somebody attacks you, they have disadvantage on the roll.
Well, they have to see me first, dear. I'm already
That's
in the
true.
shadows. This just matches my shadow persona. All right.
Yeah, anybody who sees Wixel put this thing on, you can immediately just see a shimmering, and a second Wixel appears right next to her, just materializes.
I'm back.
I'm double trouble now.
Yep, there are 2 Wixels. No,
what
there
did
are
I
2 of them.
miss?
I've multiplied. That's the.
Yeah, you see 2 Wixels to answer your question. There are 2 Wixels standing there.
The trouble with Wixels.
Double the sandwiches!
That'll prove.
Double the sandwiches, double the naps. This is great. Thank you, dear. As I look back up at him.
The king nods and says, I hope you're never put into a position where that will be necessary, but hopefully it'll
Well,
protect you.
regardless whether I need it for protection or not, it's quite fashionable.
He nods and says, I'm happy to have helped in any way. Now, he turns to all the rest of you, and he sort of like, you see his eyes narrow a little bit as he seems to be trying to figure out who he's going to, like, what he wants to give next. And after a few moments, his eyes narrow for a second as his eyes fall upon you, Romska. And he says, you are a fighter, much like your ranger.
That is correct.
That means it is likely you will try to engage the beast close range.
To the best of my abilities, Your Majesty.
I do not know how much I can help you with what you already have, but perhaps this will make it less of an advantage then. And he turns and you see him withdraw these small boots that clearly have 2 small wings on the heels of each boot. And he sets them down and slides them over to you. And he says, those will adhere to anybody who wears them. They will allow you to fly.
Wait a minute.
These are winged boots.
Yes. Romska once again deeply, elegantly bows. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will put this to use.
I'll go ahead and put this in your inventory.
This is honestly better than Christmas. So
It's like Christmas.
Let's see. How many? You've only got. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and attune your ring of mind shielding because you didn't have it attuned.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, and your winged boots are now attuned. So these things for 4 hours, they will let you fly up to at the same speed as your walking speed. And you can divide up how long that lasts. Each time you use it as a minimum of 1 minute for the duration. If you are flying when the duration expires, you descend at a rate of 30 feet per round until you land. So you drift down to the ground. The boots regain 2 hours of flying capability every 12 hours they are not used, as you can see. So Romska, you can fly. You don't even need a happy thought, which is handy for Romska because she is usually very angry at things.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, he nods and glances over at Glamma and sees that Glamma is still busy and just kind of makes note to get back to her and walks down.
I had come back and then I got distracted like Celestine and was just like, I'm gonna wander.
Yeah, you know what?
Because again, I don't need the cold potion, and I'm just like, what do I want? What does Glamma wish for?
Yeah. Yeah. There's the question. What's like? You spend all this time granting wishes, Glamma. What does Glamma want?
I don't know. Everything, all the things, everyone to be happy. I don't know. I'm gonna soul search. Bye.
See ya.
Celestine has found one of those little pockets of coins and is curled up on them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like drawing them to them. Just to be close. Just to be on. And like, this is not, you describe a small pile. This is not a hoard. This is like a floor covered in some pennies in there on top of the pennies. But it's shiny. And it's sparkly, and it's mine.
Okay, so he continues to go down the line, and he stops in front of Grawl, and basically says, "I think I know what might help you, but it will take a moment to acquire this item. Half a moment. And he turns and looks over in the direction of you, Glamma, and kind of motions you over.
No, it's my turn.
You come waddling over. As you arrive, he says, there are a few things that I could give you that you don't already have, but
Thank you. No.
I do think this will be very useful to you. It is one of our most powerful protective items. And he reaches out and withdraws from a small box, and you see as this box folds open, inside is a small ring. And he says, though I don't know where we'll put this on you. And he kind of looks you over for a moment.
Glamma actually, there's like a little bit of tears in the eyes. And just,
oh, Your Majesty, you shouldn't have.
and she just sort of extends her fins and grabs it, and then it sort of moves a part of her. She has that like shawl that sort of wraps around like an old Renaissance veil under her chin. And there is a little necklace that has a pebble, a pearl on it. And she goes,
would you mind?
Of course. And real quick, you have 3 magical items.
I do.
Right,
I'm going to decide.
This will be an easy thing to decide.
Yeah.
Because it's what he's giving you as he gives it to you is a ring of protection +2.
Oh, okay.
Which
Amazing.
in 5e is quite powerful. Back in the old days, it's like, oh, cool, I got 3 of those. But yes, so it's a ring of protection +2, which will give you a +2 to your AC and a +2 to all of your saving throws.
Wonderful. I'll just I'll be taking off my
pop
cloak.
that. Yeah, if somebody else needs the cloak.
Yeah. Exactly.
As he presents you the ring, not quite certain what you want him to do with it. He does place it on the shawl as you've demonstrated.
The necklace. Your Majesty.
Necklace. And he connects it. It just.
I've always been such a fan of pearls.
And I sort of fin gesture to the necklace of pearls that he also has.
Okay. He nods and says, "May it protect you."
Thank you.
The last.
It seems very fitting, Your Majesty. You don't even understand how much this ring means to me. My family were in the pearl business. Engagement pebbles, as it were.
You see his brow quirk, and he says, well.
Oh, I know you're not. Oh, no, I don't think that. Oh, that, how embarrassing. It's been so long since someone handed a ring to me.
He nods slowly.
Don't worry, I've got a dwarf in a fish market somewhere. Wow.
With no context, he stares at you for a moment and just... Very well.
No.
And she waddles away, flattered that he thought she was proposed. That what an embarrassing situation.
Girl just kind of looks over at Romska with like a cat-like eyebrow, just like.
I just did the Beyonce. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I was just dancing in the background. Don't mind me. I'm just your backup dancer.
Romska chuckles back at Grohl.
He turns back to you, Grohl, and says, "Now then, I'm not sure what else I could give a warrior such as yourself who requires their blades to be in contact with their foe. So I'm going to present you something that has helped me." And he reaches down and you see him unclasp his belt. And you just see him. And as he pulls this belt off of his hips, it's thick. It's about this wide. You can see it has stones going across the surface of it. And through the strip of the belt itself, it looks like jade has been interwoven in with the leather. And he presents it to you. This is and I've already, if you want to refresh your character sheet, Aki, I've already put it on the character sheet, but this is a belt of Hill Giant strength. This will pop your strength up to 21.
Oh, shit. Wayo.
You lift, bro.
I do. And like, I don't even need the beard benefit from it because, like, I'm covered in hair.
Yeah, all you got to do is attune that, and your strength will pop up to 21.
Holy crap! Oh, boy,
good stuff.
That is good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think Grohl kind of looks at the belt and sort of looks up at the king and goes, "I don't believe I have ever been the recipient of such a kingly gift. I will protect it with all my strength."
He nods and he says, "Which is considerable now. Besides, seeing the expression on your face as I presented it to you was plenty enough of a reward to have incentivized me giving it. May you use it wisely to slay the dragon."
I intend to.
And you see him look down at you once again, Celestine, like he's pondering. Like he doesn't know what to do with you.
Celestine thinks he's mad about the coins and sits up.
Yeah, where are those, by the way?
They're under their butt, honestly. Like there's under Celestine and like around their tail. They've just sort of curled. Again, this very tiny, like, my dice bag size pile.
Right.
Of coins that they've just sort of assembled and are doing like the classic behind the back, but if you're a dragon and you have a tail kind of vibe.
Celestine. He regards you for a moment and says, "Wait. There is something I could give you. I wonder if it is still here." And he turns back to this pile that is somewhat organized of these ancient treasures and starts to sift through. While he's not looking, he doesn't notice the single silver gold coin that finally, after having been pressed underneath Celestine's backside, falls off of your butt and clinkers to the floor right behind you, attracting anybody who just sees Celestine's butt dropping coins. You can see that Celestine has been sitting on a small pile of silver that they have been trying to pretend is not there. So the king, with turning back, he holds up what looks like a vial, but this one is not as small as the potions that you're looking at, Celestine. This one looks like a small, almost as large as a jar, but smaller than a jar, larger than like a potion vial. Holds it up and looks at it with this kind of curious grin on his face and says, "I think you'll enjoy this." You see this red liquid sploshing around inside of it. You can see it has this swirling, like cloudy mixture on the inside, and little bitty flecks of like reflecting light that continue to shift in the inside of the liquid. You've never seen anything like it. It's quite beautiful. And he says, "When you drink that, it will cause you to grow in size. And it's the last of our potions of enlarge that we have."
Thank you.
He
They
nods.
stretch up very, very tall to take it in their foreclaws. And they don't let go of it for just a sec. So I think there's even just a little bit of leaning into it.
Should I give this to someone in your party? I noticed you don't wear belts or backpacks.
You don't wear belts.
I do.
Not anymore, as I point to to the belt that is now on Aki's waist.
The king says, "We layer here. It's quite cold."
Lair. And they'll sit back down and look over their shoulder. I think to Wixel, who has the notorious purse, and then look back to the king.
I can hold it for you, dear.
I know you're scared of dragons. Thank you for giving.
His face doesn't show any shifting of sympathy, but he nods to you and says, if you survive this little hatchling, I will be happily changed of mind. So what this potion is going to do is when you ingest it, it'll cause you to grow from small, which you are right now, to medium-sized category.
That's so big.
Which is going to be, you'll be as tall as Grawl, basically. Your head will basically come up to
You will
about
not
your
be able
wingspan.
to be shoulder dragon.
No, but what it's going to do is it's also going to give you. I'm sorry, no. This potion in particular does not. So normally this potion works like an enlarged spell where you jump up one size category. This potion does not do that. This is going to cause you to jump to. You're going to go from small to large. So you will gain an additional D4 on all of your attacks, and you will have advantage on strength saves and strength checks.
And what happens if Wixel drinks it?
You too will go from small to large.
Just
and
curious.
Yes, anybody who drinks this particular potion of enlarge will actually become a large creature, as opposed to just jumping up one size category. You will jump immediately to large.
Grow will be my shoulder, Leonin.
Yeah. Wixel could ride you into battle, basically, at that point, easily.
Oh,
Actually, any of them could.
It's on!
You went from being a shoulder dragon to a shoulder-checking dragon.
Yeah.
That said, we should look into a backpack for you. That's not a half bad idea.
But the king says, this is what I have to give, and I'm sorry it could not be more, but I hope it
You
serves
are needlessly apologizing. You have given more than enough and have been deeply generous to us.
Well, you are risking your lives, and while it may not have been your intention when you first came here, it will still have the results of liberating us all. It's the least I can do. And since it has not been discussed, it should be now. If you manage to kill the beast, we should discuss the riches that lie within. You see, in any other circumstance, I would agree that you should all have first and fair share of what might be within the hoard. But the hoard that dragon has accumulated belonged to my people. It is the wealth that has been stolen from this empire. However, I do think it would be fair to reward all of you with a share of the treasure if you were able to slay the beast.
However you feel it is the most fairly distributed, we will leave that to you.
I find it refreshing that I can believe you, Grawl. You all seem to be people of character. We have nothing to lose in trusting you.
Well, if you could not trust me, then I would not be a very good ranger.
If you choose to leave in the morning, then we can guide you. We can take you to just the outskirts of the lair, and from there you will be on your own.
Understood.
Well then, I shall have a fire prepared for you, unless you wish to sleep on your ship.
I think it would be beneficial for both your people and us to perhaps take the opportunity to get to know each other a little better.
I have lodgings for us. On the grounds.
Ah. Very well. Send anyone to find me if you need anything further. This way, please. And the king motions out of the treasury. Tavalin leads you all out of the treasury back into the main area. I know that there is a penguin bard that had just finished a ritual. I'm guessing you cast an invisible mansion of some kind? Is that what's
a
happening?
little bit. I can't cast it quite yet, but I've sort of made the area in which it's going to be placed.
Okay, so everybody starts to bed down for the evening and take some rest. A lot of the sea elves around here, the Kailu, are all whispering. Everyone keeps their distance from all of you, but occasionally, while y'all are bedding down and preparing to enter into the sorcery, the magical mansion that the Glamma is constructed, a few of the
It
Kailu
looks
elves,
like an igloo.
Okay, perfect. A few of the Kailu elves bring you all food. Every now and then, someone will approach and hand you what looks like rations of some kind, and in like beautiful Kailu Elvish will say thank you and hand you, and gods watch over you as they hand more and more food and bring you, each one of them bringing a little piece of their camp to present to all of you, wishing you well. And unless there's anything else, you all enter into the igloo.
Yes. Once the igloo was constructed, that is where Glamma has been and has been shouting out the tunnel to instruct that if I leave, it goes away, and then I'd have to start from scratch. And also, Celestine, come on in. And
The igloo has landed, and Celestine goes in.
Okay.
They'll actually do a little bit of a belly slide. And then just kind of scritch their claws along when they inevitably stop because they're not built for it the same way that Glamma is, but as the entry into the tunnel.
Yes. Once you get inside, it is dimly lit in a purpley bluey hue that sort of reflects the landscape that we are surrounded by, and the atmosphere inside of this space is comfortable and dry and no longer freezing.
Yep.
Regardless of the weather.
Romska visibly stops shaking and glances over. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nifty.
And just so you all know, if anyone tries to attack us during the night, which is unlikely as we've made friends now, nothing can harm us. We're completely untouchable in here, so sleep soundly.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Wixel's already asleep.
No.
I close your eyes because they're still open. Flipper.
That's terrifying.
Can
That will get you a little warmer.
I meet the little elves? They were looking at me.
I
Can
have
we
no
play?
problem. Sure. If their parents say it's all right.
Perhaps, Grohl looks to Ramska. Perhaps one of us should go with them.
Yeah, can't leave. Wixel's asleep now.
That's a good idea. I don't know if we should ask first.
Yeah, you just got warm, and my fur can handle that out there a little bit better than you can. So I'm happy to go. If that would,
Thank you. Romska looks at Grohl. Thankfully, I appreciate that. I'm gonna warm up for a bit first.
watch over them.
And I
trust you.
I'm gonna grab a ball of yarn and give it to Celestine. A ball to play with the little one. Don't tell Wixel.
They take their wing and sort of cup it so they can hold the ball of yarn as they scrabble back out to go on their supervised play date.
Yes, Grohl will follow them out.
Yarn.
Okay.
Ooh. Ramska,
Yes.
do you think we should leave in the morning? Or do you think we should try to see if the creature is asleep this evening in a few hours?
I'd like to strategize with some of the warriors of this kingdom. First, we should find out the sleeping habits and the behavioral patterns and all that about this dragon before we, charge in and
Yes. Well, here you go. I'm gonna hand you my cloak that I was previously wearing. If you
Oh.
wanted to go listen to some fire stories.
Oh, thank you. Romska takes the cloak,
Hmm.
dons it. Actually, I think I will. This is going to keep me nice and warm already.
Is that the cloak protection?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You now have a +1 cloak of protection,
Ooh, thank you.
which will give you an additional +1 to your AC and a +1 to all of your saving throws.
I guess whenever Grohl and Celestine go out, Romska will go out as well and just try to just converse with the people here and the warriors. So Romska will go out and seek out the warriors, and I think the king's daughter. Remind me of their name.
The king's daughter. Her name is she's going by Kana at this point, but Lakina is what she was known as.
So Kana.
Yeah, Kana is good for short. Yeah.
Okay, Romska will make her way to Kana and slowly kind of talk to the warriors first, and then before approaching Kana directly. So.
Okay. You refresh your character sheet. You have a cloak of protection now if you want.
Thank you.
Yep. When you step out, Romska, what you see is Celestine has already started inching towards a few of the other campsites where you see some of the people are gathered. Most people don't seem to see the crystal dragon timidly kind of stalking. It would be, in Celestine's mind, tiptoeing, but to everyone else who would be watching Celestine, it looks like a wormling is stalking over to a campsite. A couple of people do finally spot them and kind of point. There is some alarm that goes up as everyone spots Celestine moving closer to one of the campsites. They do turn and look.
I think what Grohl is doing is they're sticking pretty close to Celestine.
Okay.
And when they see those sort of looks, they kind of gently kneel down really fast and place a hand on Celestine.
Okay.
To just pause them for a moment.
Give them a sec.
Yeah.
Do you speak Elvish, Grohl?
I don't.
You don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound particularly friendly.
Yeah, I think that Grohl kind of just sort of says in a voice loud enough that they can hear, but in a tone I think that kind of is meant to be fairly neutral and not necessarily soothing, but neutral in tone. It's my friend is curious to meet others their age. I understand that they might present in a way that is a little bit nerve-wracking for you, but I assure you that while I am with them, no harm will come to them or to any of you.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Not my strong suit, but I'm going to do my best.
Go ahead and make your roll.
Here we go. How are the dice feeling? Not great. That's a 9. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see the looks on their faces. They regard each other, and one of them says something in Elvish and kind of motions back the direction you came.
Is any of this within earshot of Romska, by the way?
Probably. You guys are not that far from each other. This is a pretty open space, but this is where a lot of the families like to make their camp.
Okay. So does Romska hear what they're saying?
You speak Elvish?
Yes.
Yeah. The elf, essentially, the Kailu elf looks very unfriendly in the direction of Grohl, but is pretty much eyes locked on Celestine. And you caught a little bit of what was being said, but it sounded something along the lines of, I don't understand your words, Leonin. Go away.
Can I relay this to Grohl?
Yeah, you could stop. You were about to head over to the warriors. You seeing this, you can move your over to them. You all see, Grohl, you see Romska approaching you. Comes striding up.
Yeah, so Romska approaches them. It seems as though they're quite uncomfortable with the presence of Celestine here, and they didn't understand what you were trying to say.
Fair enough. Celestine was simply interested in meeting the children, but if they're not comfortable, they're not comfortable.
Romska, I'm going to try to talk to the adult elves. In Elvish, she calls out to them, "Please calm yourselves. I understand. We have established that we are friends. Our hatchling is not going to harm any of you. So they just want to meet your children."
Grohl
Most convincing, peaceful.
Grohl in
just
order
has
to sort of assist with this, leans over to Celestine, show them the yarn.
Celestine
Play with it.
pads up and pulls the yarn out, shows it to them, and the way that they did when Wixel first gave it to them falls on their back with it and plays with it a little. Can I make a charm check for this?
Well, let's resolve what Romska just did. And what did I do? So you go ahead and roll persuasion.
Okay. Oh, yes. That's going to be a 18.
Okay. In which case, now I would ask Celestine to roll persuasion.
All right. I'm going to expend a superiority die.
You're going to use commander presence
to add it to my persuasion checks.
You're going to use that leadership charisma that is inherent in you. Go ahead and make the roll and add that D10.
I knew sooner or later I'd want to be a dragon with a charm check.
That is legit one of my favorite abilities that a fighter has because it solves the problem the fighter's not getting intimidation worth a damn.
Exactly. Or you can get intimidation proficiency, but you really can't get other
don't
things.
Get a bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings it up to a 22.
Okay. You see, first of all, it's kind of a double hitter because they soften a little bit as soon as Romska is finishing making the case. They also notice that Grawl is, even though they don't seem to understand what Grawl is saying, Grawl is being very respectful and is kind of just being, hey, let's everybody kind of be chill. Like that. And then Celestine casts I am playful cat creature on them. And the behavior, the talking, one of them stands up and steps forward. Looks like what would be a young elven male, pulls some of his cloak up to him and takes a few steps forward. All the other elves stop and watch what he's doing as he takes a step forward and says to you in a very non-hostile tone, Romska, in Elvish, says, "We have taught our children to fear dragons, and this has kept them alive. We mean no disrespect, especially because you are all going to be risking your lives tomorrow. But each one of us has suffered under the claws of a dragon. And perhaps, if all goes well, we can try this again tomorrow."
Understood.
But he says, looking back, and he leans in, a result of the positive persuasion checks. He leans in and says, "I know you will change minds. And your hatchling friend is unlike any dragon I've ever seen. They're beautiful. I hope to welcome them into our camp soon."
You've got that right. Oh, very well. We'll try tomorrow, or once things are better. And
he nods and glances down at Celestine in a very thick accent. Celestine, he says, "Tomorrow." And nods to you, like you understood exactly what he meant by that. And then nods and takes a couple of steps back and returns. But Celestine, you're not sure what just happened, but as he returns, looking at the expression on Romska's face and Gral's face, you get the impression you're not playing with kids tonight.
It's nothing that you did wrong, Celestine.
Then why? I brought yarn.
You did. You did everything you were supposed to do. You did everything right. There are some things in this world are wrong. Some things in this universe are not okay. Some people hold on to hurt in ways that hurt others. And some people just believe things that are wrong. That is nothing to do with you, everything to do with them. But hear this from me right now. What they think of you doesn't matter at all. You are loved and valued just the way you are.
And Celestine snorts a couple little radiant shards from their snoot, and they crawl up the front of Grawl, and they aren't even shoulder dragon. They just want to be chest dragon, and they aren't. And they'll just be carried back. I think they're
Daghud.
I can't believe I slept through all of that.
Withdrawing from that, you moving forward, Romska, I'm guessing you're still looking for the king's daughter.
After that interaction, Romska didn't know how to explain this to them. To
Grol just kind of casts a look over his shoulder at Romska as he kind of carries Celestine back and kind of gives her a nod, I'm going to take care of this. You do what you need to do, kind of a thing.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I'll check in with you all later. And
Stay safe.
Thank you.
It doesn't take much searching, Romska, to find her. She is by one of her fires by herself. There is an honor guard that is always surrounding her. This honor guard in particular is standing close to about 20 feet away, and they're not engaging. They seem to be keeping a respectful distance. You can already see a relationship between the honor guard and this princess as you're approaching. She clearly doesn't like them close, and so they stand a good distance away. They do eye you as you are approaching, and you can see the body language stiffen, but they don't move. She doesn't look at you, but as you approach, you hear her say in common with a twinge of sort of almost an Irish-esque accent coming from her as she's talking in sort of like somebody who's been speaking in Elvish this whole time. She says, I was wondering which one of you was going to approach me tonight.
Hello. We want more information on this dragon and its habits and any sort of previous battle experience that you've had with it.
Take a seat.
Okay. Romska bows, also takes a seat.
She smiles and she says, I really appreciate all the effort you're putting into this, but I don't know if you noticed, I'm not one that gives too much of a damn about the niceties of court, so don't worry about bowing.
Well, any chance I come across the niceties of court, I will partake.
Smart. You never know who you're going to offend out here.
Yes. Well, this dragon, does it sleep? Does it rest?
Yes.
Its
weaknesses. Like most dragons, all this one likes to do is sleep when it's not hunting.
Mm-hmm.
What are its weaknesses? It has a lust for cruelty. It enjoys the fear of its prey. When I was a little girl, we were on a hunt far from here, away from the dragon space. away from its lair. I don't know much about other dragons, but here's what I can tell you of this one. It can swim very fast. It can burrow into the ice, and it can walk along the ice, even if it were the ceiling as though it were the ground. It ambushes its prey, and it is quite large. It is merciless. It enjoys the fear it experiences from the things that it hunts. Sometimes we thought we might take advantage of that. When I was a little girl, we were on a hunt, and I watched it toy with my fellow hunters, giving them hope, letting them run. It even pretended as though we had lost it, but it burrowed under the ice as we were running back to our boats. We thought we were going to get away, and when it exploded from the ice beneath us, it took 15 of us that day. Only one became its prey. The rest it let the icy waters claim.
What an atrocious...
She nods and she says, we are aquatic elves, but the world has been rendered uninhabitable for us. We cannot survive in the frigid temperatures that this creature has caused these oceans to drop to.
Perhaps there's a way to trap it or to render its immediate surroundings uninhabitable.
She shrugs. We stopped raiding and stopped attempting to harm the creature when we realized that we were playthings for it. And when our numbers became so few, we simply couldn't afford to anymore, which was the dragon's plan all along. He culled us. And we are now his hunting stock. I've been trying to mobilize what's left of us for years now to storm the caves and at least die fighting. But there's only a handful of us that think the way I do.
Perhaps we can lure it into a false sense of security at first, as if we approach it as if we're going to simply speak with it. And then maybe we can ambush it somehow.
I would normally think that would be a foolish and ignorant strategy, but the truth is it Ramska?
Yes, Ramska.
The truth is, Ramska, you have a bit of a variable in your group that is going to change the interaction you have with this creature in ways that we cannot predict. There's never been another dragon on this world until today. Exactly. I don't know how this thing is going to react.
I don't either, but I think the presence of the hatchling will buy us some time and perhaps help us, but I do not want to compromise them and their safety. So the tricky thing is how do we approach this battle without bringing harm to them?
I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. Remind me your name again. I've been meeting a lot of people here.
Well, you may call me Kana.
Princess Kana, thank you. Once again, another deep, formal bow, Ramska.
She smiles and shakes her head. There'll be a lot to drink if you survive tomorrow. It won't be good. It's not exactly we have fresh stocks of alcohol.
Well, we have some stored on our ship. And one request, Princess. If we do come out of this successful, while we are away, can you please tell your people, tell your warriors, to tell everyone that there is nothing to fear from Celestine. They pose no harm to your people. I know it's hard. And it seems as though the children of your kingdom, they're curious about them. And perhaps we can heal some very deep wounds, or at least start the process of it after this battle.
It's possible. When the children look upon Celestine, they don't see a dragon. When the parents look at Celestine, they see the spawn of the thing that destroyed everything that they know. It's a trauma response to losing everything to a creature that delights in cruelty and death. That's not Celestine's fault. But these people, my people, you're talking to someone who has been trying for years to reach them, to shake them away from their fears so that they can look past and find their courage to look beyond what they see and instead do what they need to do. But that is the dragon's desolation. The true destruction that has been wreaked upon my people is not the crumbling of these buildings. It's the destruction of our culture and who we are.
Understood.
She rises from her seat and approaches you, Romska, and she says, I promise you this. Even if tomorrow does not go well, the minds of my people will be forever changed by Celestine.
I would sure hope so. We're going to do our best, and perhaps we can begin this healing process afterwards.
I have a question for you before you go.
Yes, princess.
If this dragon decides to treat with you after all and make the item exchange, will you leave without killing it?
I don't think so. Not after seeing the destruction, the irreversible harm it has caused your people, your entire land, or previously ocean.
She raises her chin and kind of regards you, almost looks you up and down for a moment. Says, I'm too young to remember what it was like having our starports open to the outside, but I do remember hearing stories of the Githyanki, and just like your friend Celestine, you are different. Nope, you're muted.
Thank you. I try my best to
yep.
Just do good. Just to do good. I appreciate this, princess. I should go now. It was nice strategizing with you, and I think I need some rest. The cold is kind of getting to me, and it was nice talking.
She nods to you.
Once again, a deep formal bow. And Romska stands up straight, turns.
She says something in Elvish that loses the translation, but it's along the line of fucking hell. And she smiles and goes back and sits down at her fire. The fires here, by the way, do not require wood to burn. They are actually burning on small clumps of ice that have been formed together. You can easily tell that this is magic at work. There is a sorcery here that has been keeping people alive. Not unheard of, especially elves tend to be somewhat proficient in magic, no matter what professions they choose. But nothing matches the warmth of the inside of that igloo. The moment you get back inside and see your companions resting comfortably.
Me too.
I think Grohl is probably like the only one who's still awake.
Yeah, possible battle with the dragon tomorrow. Grohl, you are
Grohl
wide
is
awake.
sharpening his swords, watching over
whetstone.
Celestine while they're asleep, and kind of every now and again just casting a direction in the like an eye in the direction of the loud ones. Just kind of like every now and again just sort of shakes his head.
There is a reason we have our own chambers.
The loud one sleeps separately. from the rest of us. But yeah, when Bromska comes back in, he kind of just looks up at her and goes, "So?"
Well, any previous attempts at battle with this dragon in the past have been met with death and destruction and no progress whatsoever, girl. It seems as if this dragon is just, it's impossible to find a weakness.
Do you think it's impossible for us to defeat it?
No. I know there's a way. All 5 of us, we're gonna prove the most formidable enemy it's ever seen. I just want it to be as simple as possible.
Things with dragons are rarely simple. Grohl looks over at Celestine.
You definitely got that right.
I'm glad that you're with us on this mission. You've added a lot to our crew. You're muted.
Thank you, girl. I'm trying.
You say that a lot. Why do you think you need to try so hard?
In the past, I've slacked off in helping others and just trying to do good in this existence.
I think if the intent in your heart is good, you hardly have to try.
Romska just kind of like looks down and contemplates this. Looks back up at Grohl. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I've been with this ship a long time. I've seen people come and go. I don't think that our particular ship has had a better combination of people before.
And I consider myself one of the luckiest rangers to have ever adventured in this realm space.
And Grohl kind of gives a toothy grin. We're going to kill a dragon tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
Overhearing that in the subconscious, Celestine has nightmares the rest of the night. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, they're talking about me.
We're going to kill an evil dragon.
Right. Make that distinction. Yeah. So why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and take our 10-minute break. And when we come back, we will venture to the lair of Kazada. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. It's early morning in the encampment as you're all starting to leave the ruins to head out to the lair. It was all things considered, thanks to the magics of one Glemma, you all had a very restful, comfortable sleep. For those of you who did sleep.
I feel great.
Getting up in the morning, you all leaving the igloo, you see that this is a community that gets up quite early and everyone is very active already. Waiting for y'all at the entrance of the temple is a blue-skinned warrior aquatic elf princess who has a bow strapped over her shoulder, and you can see the quiver that she has very curious looking arrows inside that look like they're fashioned from these, for lack of a better way of saying it almost looks like coiled, finely crafted and sculpted lengths of seaweed that have been bound so tightly together and fastened with some kind of arrowhead. It's curious design and kind of defies how engineering should work on the crafting of arrows. And yet there they are, a quiver of them on her back. As you all approach, she says, "I'll be your guide to the lair. I am under orders from my king to only follow you halfway. From there, it is all to you."
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. I hope
You
you
all
slept
start to-
well.
She says, "No, not at all.
Oh.
But thank you."
Well, tonight, not tonight, this morning might be quite a monumentous evening. I hear we have some bottles on the ship waiting for everyone.
You see a sad smile come to her face, and it's almost demoralizing. And she says, I hope that is the case. And there's this desperate hope in her eyes.
Yes.
But she says, well, follow me. Everyone is clearly here to see you off. And indeed, there are hundreds of aquatic elves. The Kailu elves have gathered en masse to watch you all depart. Moments after she turns and starts descending from the frozen ramp, basically, that has been carved so that it's somewhat easy to walk on. As she's making her way down, you hear an elven woman shout in alarm as a child breaks from the ranks and dashes at full speed towards Celestine with something in her hand. Celestine, you have a few moments to see what's happening, but the woman that tries to grab her child back fails, and she looks terrified as her child rushes up to you. This little child is probably close to about, maybe it would be the human equivalent of maybe 6 years old. You could see she's already starting to wear sort of the adornments of the sea elf culture. So you see some pearls intertwined with seaweed that have been tied into a nice weave in the back of her head. She has brilliant green eyes and light blue skin and a very nervous smile on her face as she comes running up to you. She has something in her hand and she immediately holds it out to you. And the princess is watching this too. Doesn't make a move, just kind of watches curiously.
Groll and the crew would probably see the first flash of Celestine is a prey drive instinct from a small thing running. The wanting to pounce is very strong, and so there's just that beat. And then Celestine goes very tight, almost tense. The way that if you've ever met a dog that is very tolerant with children is steeling itself, and the claws go into the ground, and crunch into the powder and into just a little layer of ice, and then by the time the child is there, they relax a little bit more again, and they are neither of the above two. And they lean forward over the child's hand to see what it is.
She opens her hand, and it takes some imagination to see it. But when you do, you realize it is a small, crudely carved piece of ice into the shape of a dragon. And she's holding it out to you with this kind of like biting of the lip, looking to see if, you know, what you'll do, if you understand. Like, she just doesn't seem to know what happens next, but as she holds it there,
I take so carefully in my claws, and I cast dancing lights so it sparkles like me.
You say something, it rolls off the tongue as the arcane energy pops, and immediately these multitude of lights begin to gather around, refracting off of your crystalline scales and the ice around, and she becomes enraptured. There's a few alarmed gasps, and those slowly turn into some chuckles. You can hear people pointing. She smiles shyly and then dashes back to her mom, giggling on her way, all the way back to the crowd of elves.
Celestine is still entranced by this little ice sculpture for a few moments. They look back up.
Yeah.
Friend is gone. They look back and smile. And look back up to crew.
Groll's just grinning at them.
Groll and Celestine gain an inspiration. Point of inspiration for a successful persuasion check and for cracking that ice, as it were.
How do I not crack this ice? That's the next thing. Like they
Yeah.
start to
How do I
look back
protect?
toward. Figure it out.
I wish this ice don't melt.
Constant prestidigitation of cold around that ice.
Okay. That's easy enough. Yes, you can press
so that
digitate.
Celestine's warmth
So it
from
doesn't
their
melt.
own body, it doesn't melt the ice.
It's just on their claw tips too.
Yeah.
There's
I said, just don't worry, you won't hurt it. No, thank you.
They're
Thank you.
Thank you.
Most of the elves, not understanding the common tongue, they just watch you all depart. But there is a small smile on the face of the princess who's leading you all down this ramp towards this lair.
as we travel, I would like to spend a little bit of time with all of my crew and shoving against them so they know that I will protect them, and headbutting into them so they know that they're mine. And for the inspiring leadership feat, give everyone 11 temporary hit points.
11 temp hit points. That's huge. Okay, good. Good use of that. Good use of that feat.
Little kitten becomes puppy.
Everyone mark down your character sheets. You have 11 temporary hit points. Also, by this point, everyone should have inspiration. So the whole party should have inspiration at this point. Kind of lurking this whole time behind all of you has been Javik, who has been very quiet watching all of this. Hasn't said anything to the elves, hasn't approached anybody. And now that you're all underway, he's doing a little bit of hand-wringing. Keeping to himself as you're all moving through the ice. He seems quite nervous. It's not easy to hide, but any attempt to talk to him, he immediately is very resistant. He kind of waves it away. And if anyone tries to approach him, he immediately signifies, nope, don't. Kind of, but you can all feel the tension. You get the impression that Javik has probably had more experience or stories about this particular dragon than the rest of you, and is somewhat nervous going to meet the creature that he's been told about for a while. The journey from the runes to the lair is not long. Just as promised, the king said it was just on the other end of the city. It's a few city blocks to get there. The city blocks themselves, though, most of this place has crumbled. The weight of the ice that is gathered around a lot of the architecture has caused some of the structures to lose their integrity and fall apart. So you're coming across huge chunks of frozen rock in the streets. And you see more of the horrible sights that you saw when you first arrived. There are people that have probably been frozen here for hundreds of years, still in their final states of absolute terror as they were being attacked by the dragon. It's Pompeii, but worse. You can see facial expressions through the clear sheets of ice of some of these elves that were clearly looking up at the sky and trying to shield themselves. Some of them are holding each other, and some of them are laying flat on the ground. You can see warriors that were in the middle of dashing to the city square, and it is a haunting image to move past. Because what you are reliving as you all move through these runes is the final moments of this city during its height, frozen in time forever under the sheets of this dragon's ice. There is so much beautiful architecture here. It's pretty clear that the city that you're in descends further beneath the waves from the sheer the audacity of some of the architecture. It's obviously designed with magic and with incredible skill. Nothing like what you saw from inside. You just get more and more of an idea of where this great city used to be at its height compared to where it is now. And as you get closer and closer to what you presume is this layer, you begin to see that the ice begins to accumulate here more and more and more, to the point where it stops resembling a city that is locked in ice and starts resembling more of a snowy landscape. You start losing some of the structures that are around you as you crunch through the snow, and eventually you start looking at what looks like mountainous ice range in front of you. The princess comes to a stop and she says, the layer is just there. You'll be able to see it when you get closer. It's very difficult to see from this distance, but you have crossed into the territory of the dragon. I wish I could go with you.
You have brought us as far as you could. As far as you promised us you would. We are sorry that you had to travel through what I am sure is a very difficult memory for you.
I was not yet born when this happened. She looks around and says, I grew up seeing this.
I do not imagine that makes it any easier.
No. No, it doesn't.
Thank you again, dear.
She looks lovingly at you, Wixel, and says, I truly hope we have stories of victory to tell tonight. See you soon.
Save me a drink. Hmm?
She nods. And may you find the answers you're looking for, young Celestine.
If the worst were to happen, our ship is the best way and best hope you have of getting more help. Reinforcements.
I had not thought of that.
Please tell
We
your
won't need
king.
it. She nods. We won't need it.
Well, thank you again.
You
Not
see
hunting?
You see frustration as she nods to all of you and begins to return in the direction you all came.
Why doesn't she hunt? Well, you don't tell. Oh, I think her job tonight is protecting her place. Should we not return?
If we fail, then the dragon is likely to retaliate against them.
Then she hunt. We hunt.
Jasek finally turns to all of you and says, I'm going to tell you everything I can possibly think that you don't already know.
Thank goodness. I was about to ask.
All I can tell you is some of the stories that I was told. Raisin has a history with this dragon. It's important that we do not mention Raisin's name. Excuse me.
It's okay. The freezing kind of makes the tongue go numb.
when I first met my friend, it's what I called her, Raisin. She found it amusing for the first couple of weeks, and then not so much. The dragon that we are going to see now, this Kazada, is not unlike any dragons you may have heard of before. In the sense that he is a white dragon, and as a white dragon tends to be very simple, not stupid. Simple. Keep this in mind. Complex arguments of philosophy will simply provoke him to kill all of us. Just keep it simple.
Simple may not be stupid, but it is easily manipulable.
That might be true, yes.
Like this. And I throw something shiny near Celestine.
Pounce.
See? Not
You hear
stupid.
a clinking sound as that dragon snatches it out of the air in one bite. Just ping!
Not stupid, but
Fierce.
fierce. And predictable in cases.
That is
You
all I
keep
have. You keep it.
Yes.
Mark down -1 silver on your character sheet. All right. So you all continue. You the mouth of the cave. It doesn't look any different than most ice caves that you would imagine. It's beautiful. It's very similar to the exterior of a mountainside cave. The ice here looks like it has been hollowed out and dug into. Celestine, you immediately start getting a sense that you are indeed approaching the lair of one of your kind. It's like a sixth sense, like you're in the territory of a larger predator. You can feel that energy. And the rest of you just feel the sense of foreboding, like you are getting closer and closer to a dragon's lair. And sure enough, as you all enter, stepping inside, before I jump into descriptions as to what lay within, I'd like to hear what y'all's plan is for entering this place. Do you have one?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say we should get as close as we can that we feel safe and then take our potion of happy, not be cold, hurt thing.
Jacek looks at you and says, "What?"
I would
Our
like to be
resistance
protected
to
from frost. Yes, dear.
Ah, yes, of course. Yes.
Our little hot toddy.
Pops it, downs it. Ah.
Once we're as
gonna
close
hand-
as we can get, yeah.
I'm going to
Right.
hand Celestine's theirs as well.
I think the plan is we go in with the original mission and the original intent, get what the
Start
information
dialogue.
we need from Kazada, figure out how to get Celestine home, and then we make that dragon regret ever coming here.
I like that plan.
I thought we kill.
Same thing.
We have to make sure we get the information we need, dear. But yes, after.
No regret. Kill.
Well, I think killing him will make him regret a lot of things.
Oh.
All right.
Celestine will contemplate as I think we're just running up Maine.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And
I
honestly, because the strategy is to contact as though coming from a place of diplomacy, probably the only way to really do this is to walk in the front door instead of sneaking about. So with that in mind, you brave sods decide to push forward and walk right in the front door of this cave. The group of you moving into this cave immediately start to feel, for those of you, I'll let you decide if your characters have ever had an encounter with a dragon like this before, or if you've entered a dragon's lair. But it's already a unique experience that you're having as you are moving inside. Yes, what's up,
I
Grawl?
think Grohl has at least once.
Okay.
Maybe a very long time ago.
Okay.
And it
So
was
What's-
it was like one of the very few rare dragons that were out there, but probably part of his training as a monster slayer has had at least
Okay.
one encounter.
Sure. Okay. What color dragon was it, out of curiosity?
I think it was a red dragon.
Ooh, you went for the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different landscape. This is not you. There is no heat, molten rocks, nothing like that. You are walking into the frigid cold. Though I will say, for those of you who have downed that potion, you don't feel less cold. It doesn't feel like it gets rid of that chill, but you can feel that magic coming to work. You can feel the resistance starting to court you. It's sort of like think of it as like an arcane confidence potion. You begin to feel like it's nothing to fear. Sticking your hands out, like you're still seeing plumes of your breath in front of you, but if you were to say, pour cold water on your hand where it would freeze, not so much of a reaction. It wouldn't be that biting chill that would hurt. One by one, you all move into the cave. The chill in the cave is the kind of cold that causes fear. What's that?
As soon as we cross the threshold,
Mhm.
I think Glamma just gives a quick This is about to be a bit of a horror show, even if we win. For Celestine, they're going to see the first of their own kind ever. Possibly, they're quite brutalized today. So gives like a quick, like, puppy kitty pat on their head, and enjoy the hunt today. And bardic inspiration on you.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Celestine is going in, and now that we're into the lair, they are moving a little more predatorially. They are into the hunt.
Yeah.
Dragons are the fiercest, therefore this is the highest order of hunt.
Yes.
What is it? There's an expression when you hunt, like hunting humans. There's something, I can't remember it right now.
Apex predator?
Oh, we wish, right?
That survival in the primal instinct that kind of kicks in.
Yes. As soon as I see your sort of posture getting into that, just Glamma kind of brightens up behind you in her own sort of fluffy, feathered excitement way. And she just says,
We have so many wishes to grant today.
And the last thing they do is Celestine will put down the little ice statue outside of the lair so it doesn't get hurt.
Okay.
Wishes.
All right. Yes, as I said before, entering into this cave, you are feeling a chill here that usually causes an anxiety in people because it's like that sharp temperature drop that would immediately kind of get a normal person questioning, like, is it safe to be here? Even if for anybody who's dressed warmly and resistant to the chill, you can't help but wonder how long you would be able to endure the biting frost as soon as you enter this place. Beyond the white plumes of your breath, a magnificent, expansive cave of pure ice glitters like starlight behind the stained glass right in front of you. All throughout the walls and the floor, coins, gems, armor are scattered about and frozen behind the walls, on the ceiling, in the floor, giving this place a very haunting beauty. You can kind of see the coins are just all over the place, scattered all about. Strategically, you're not sure, but it's impossible to imagine that these coins in their single, like in a single coin state, the way they are scattered about, it looks like they've been deliberately frozen all around you all, giving this place that sort of glittering wealth and beauty. And there's a faint howl as wind is mournfully passing through the tunnels that you see around you. There are 6 total tunnels that you can see branching out and winding deeper into the lair. The final tunnel that you all count as you're all glancing around the room is the one that causes a little bit more anxiety as well. It's a little troubling when you see it because it is clearly in the ceiling, 80 feet above you all. And it's large enough to accommodate the denizen that rules this Arctic graveyard. Perhaps more chilling than the air itself is how quiet it is in here when you all enter. There's no sounds of movement or indication this place is occupied, but each of you is aware of the presence of a predator. On the most basic primal level, a white dragon is in this lair and is likely aware of all of you.
I think Grohl looks towards our Githzari friend. Care to give the show a start?
Javik. Oh, were you speaking of Javik or?
Javik looks at everybody and says, "What you wished me to do something?"
Well, you're Rosalind's emissary, are you not?
I thought we weren't supposed to mention them.
Okay, so when you Javik looks at you and says, what do you wish me to say? Yeah.
Never mind. We'll take care of this.
He looks grateful and looks about again and takes a step back.
I would like to look around and see if I see anything unusual or
Roll perception.
Yes, I will.
Make a perception check.
22.
Yes, you do spot something rather unusual, and maybe the others didn't see it because of how the light is refracting across the glossy, kind of glassy blue ice that is all around you all, much like my background. It's easy enough to get lost in all of the sort of reflections that you're seeing. And you, Wixel, as you're glancing about, you see a curious ambient blue glow beneath the snow about 60 feet in front of you. It's buried deep. Whatever it is, something is glowing in the center of this cave. It's, as I said, 60 feet up ahead, but it catches your eye because as you scan over it for a second, you begin to realize it's actually powder that it's underneath. It's not glassy ice that's refracting underneath. Something underneath the surface of that snow is glowing.
I'm going to hold my hand up like this just to stop the party for a second, kind of look at all of them quietly, and then look in the direction of where I see the glow, just so that they're all now aware of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you all, at this point then, if Wixel points it out to you, you all see this ambient blue glow emanating from underneath the surface of the ice.
Curious.
What could it mean?
Can I do a quick Arcana check?
Yes, you may. Go ahead and roll Arcana.
Yeah. 15.
Glemma, you don't know what that could be, but you're pretty sure that you feel the presence of magic here.
Mm-hmm.
How big is it?
It's hard to say. It's literally just a glow that you see coming from. It's not strong enough that you can see a pinpoint or a silhouette of something underneath. It's just the underneath this powder. There is a glow, a bluish glow that is emanating. And the rest of you are beginning to realize, like, well, how did we miss that? But there it is.
I pounce the glow.
Okay.
No.
You dive
We gotta
towards
start
the
this
snow.
rodeo somehow.
I guess this is how we die, everyone. I have had a long life.
No, I
mean,
this
it's
is gonna
just-
be great.
It's under the ice, so they're probably just not
powder.
pouncing anything significant.
No, and the dragon in our party making the first move, I think, is very smart.
They're in hunter mode.
Oh dear.
Okay, so as you charge towards the snow, the powder of the snow, I'm going to need you, Celestine.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Celestine, as you're charging towards the snow, all of you hear this like thundering, thudding noise. The entire cave seems to rumble for a moment, and these icicles just go and begin to fall from the ceiling, just like thousands of little icy bullets crashing into the ground around you. None of them hit you. They smash into the ground around you. They seemed pretty focused on where you are. You notice that they don't fall on anybody else. They just come loose right where you are and shatter into thousands of pieces right all around you as you edge up towards the powder.
Oh!
Celestine, stay still.
And you come to a stop. You just kind of slide across the ice.
That's no way to treat a child.
Grohl kind of casts his gaze upward.
You glance up again at that ceiling area. Make a perception check, Grohl, and you have advantage because I'm guessing you have dragons as a favorite enemy. Is that correct?
Dragons are not, but I do have primeval awareness of them. They're
So then that would just let you know that a dragon is here.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
I I can just sense that they're within. Yeah. So I don't have advantage on dragons, but
You don't have to roll for this. There is definitely a dragon within the vicinity that's not
Yeah.
Celestine. Yeah.
yes, but I will go ahead and do the perception check. I don't need
Okay.
advantage on it though, I don't think.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that is a dirty 20.
Okay, you don't see a dragon, but you do see. Looks like you're pretty sure wasn't there before when you spotted the cavern that leads up and into the ceiling. But it looks like there has been a swiping, like something sheared all of those icicles at the top of this cavern away in one little section, right over where Celestine was.
Well, I definitely think they're aware of us. So,
We should see if they'll speak with us.
will
Who
you
will do the
speak with
speaking?
us?
Draconic.
Ah, okay.
Ooh,
I
nice.
cast
You-
comprehend languages on myself so I can understand along with the little one to convey to the group.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
I prefer the hunt. But it's nice to see the elves bringing me sacrifices for once. I like to chase my prey, but they'll be chasing and screaming enough soon. Plenty of chasing and screaming.
You scream?
You scream.
We have come here in the hopes that you might help us find the little one's home.
Quick question: is he speaking in like common or?
Speaking in common, yeah. And
Okay,
I
cool.
would say
I just wanted to make sure if we
roll-
could all understand.
Yeah, you can understand him. He's talking common. Grawl, if you want to make a persuasion check here, you can.
I'll try. We'll see how it goes. Persuasion is not. I'm not. Natural 20
Okay.
for a 21.
So you say what did you word again? How did you word it?
I was like, we came to ask you if you would help us find the little one's home.
Okay. So there's a long pause for a moment, and you can hear sort of a distant rumble. And eventually you all begin to see towards the back of the cave, not on the ceiling, but in fact on the floor, you begin to see the snow begin to shift. Ice begins to break loose. There is another bluish glow. And what becomes pretty clear as the head raises up out of the ice, it is the smoldering ice blue eyes of a white dragon. The thing is not small. It is, in fact, huge as it rears its head up. The thing about white dragons is their face is almost like a Skeksis. They have this very sort of beakish face that kind of hawkish, like arcs downwards behind these burning blue eyes, this sort of thin maw. And all around its face, you can see like these jagged scales that have formed along the rimming of the jaw. The scales itself are the purest, whitest of snow. It is quite lovely to look upon. And it has almost, catching the way it catches light, it's different than Celestine's scales. Celestine is a crystal dragon. When it catches the light, it almost refracts it. This is like sunlight shining down onto the snow. It beams a little bit, kind of has a soft glow to it as the dragon rears itself up. Even here underneath this ice cavern, it's catching a little bit of the light around it. It is an incredible thing to behold. The second time you've been in the presence of an adult dragon as it rears up, as it moves up out of its resting position, it comes and kind of immediately, Celestine, you see this thing kind of fold its wings out and stretch as this thing kind of pulls itself up to a full height, clearly wanting you to see its entire form as it stretches out. The wingspan, the size of this thing, it is enough to take your breath away as the dragon extends its head outwards and kind of you can hear these bones cracking along its great, powerful neck. And the thing kind of lowers its head down low. It's towering up above you guys by about like 18 feet or so, looking down on everyone for a moment. It's about, I would say, about 70 feet away from everybody. The size of this thing is for anybody else, like y'all being seasoned adventurers and having seen some shit, you managed to keep it together, but there are the faintest of feelings in the back of everyone's mind of how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? The moment you see the size of this creature and it stretches up, its neck kind of arcs back and it leans its head down, regards everybody and just plumes of breath as it takes in the scent. And you see from Graal's persuasion check, you see the white dragon exude a bit of confusion for a moment, like it's uncertain. It kind of cocks its head a little bit and looks at everybody.
I think Grol's intent in asking that was to get the dragon thinking, if they can go home, so can I.
You're not sure what the dragon's thinking, but it's definitely not launching onto a murderous attack. Instead, its eyes fall on Celestine as it's taking in the scent. Celestine, your draconic instincts kick in here. It's different than when you met Razin. This is a predatorial. You can feel the malevolence of this dragon. You are in the presence of an apex predator, and you're not sure how this creature is going to respond to you. Your kin, looking down at you, might see the way male cats treat kittens. Not great. You're kind of watching this white dragon as it regards you for a moment. And as the silence stretches on, after a moment, it seems like the dragon is gathering its thoughts, like it doesn't know what to say, until finally just...
You're from the Isles. You are from the Isles. How are you here, wormling?
They take my egg. Tribute for Void.
Tribute for Void.
Herald of the Void. That move.
So the Void is trying to open the gate. And it needs you. Why? Why does it need you? Oh, yes, of course. Yes. The blood of a hatchling. What do you remember of the Isles, little one?
The voice. Nice voice. Talks to my egg. Tells me about being dragon. Tells me I am Celestine. Tells me we rule. Tells me Io. May I roll a little to see if I remember anything else?
You can give it a shot, yeah. See if you remember anything.
Flat int.
Yeah, I think that in this case it'd be a flat intelligence check.
Oh, hi. Hi, hello. Okay, 17 on the die plus mod is 19.
What's curious, Celestine, is much like when you encountered Razin, it's sort of jogging your memory a little bit. And you remember stories about the white dragons. You don't remember names, but you remember hearing there were clans of white dragons where you were from. And you remember the voice on the other side of the egg. Don't remember exactly what he said, but it sounded like exasperation and caution. You're pretty certain about that, but you don't really remember that much else. But what you do note, Celestine, is that the memory, even though you can't hear what's being said, it does feel a little more clarity to the memory this time. It's hard to explain, but you think you can picture the shadow on the other side of the egg a little more clearly. You think you can hear the turning of pages after you were told what a book was. And that's it.
They don't share all of that, but they do say, remember White Dragon, fierce hunters, clans.
We are the mightiest of hunters. So you know nothing. You and your egg. You're just a wormling. A useless wormling that the void needs to open the gate. Which means the void wants you. Which means I could give you to the void. In exchange for my freedom.
Are you not free?
You see him look down at you, Grawl, and you see this look on his face, like surprise that you've spoken to him. And he cocks his head again to the side and says,
if I was free, why would I be here? Why would I be on this world? Why would I not be back on the Isles where I belong, where I had status? Here, the prey is easy. They fall so easily. So boring. Pathetic city filled with pathetic elves. They're not even worthy of the deaths that I give them. But you might make for fine game.
So you wish to submit to the Void Dragon?
No.
So the Void Dragon must be the more powerful of the species?
We thought you were a powerful dragon and you were submitting to another, I guess.
Why not hunt Void? Fierce hunter?
You know nothing, do you? You know nothing of what this creature is.
No, but it didn't choose to speak to you now, did it? Must not think very highly of you. May not even take a meeting.
What do you say? The void that moves spoke to you. What are you saying? It spoke to you.
Spoke to me.
this dragon's head lowers and it gets dangerously close to all of you, kind of comes creeping forward. As it does, the girth of this creature, you can feel it causing the cave around it to move. You can hear its talons scraping across the ice as it pulls itself forward, like a cat kind of dragging itself across the carpet as it gets a little closer, leans his head down and says,
"What did the void say to you, little wormling? What did he say?"
Ayo's children find their end here in Void. Watch, no despair. You Ayo's children.
Why have you come here? You want me to help you get home. Is that right?
We have trinket. You have trinket. We trade. It help.
Trade? Trade? Do I look like a merchant to you, wormling?
No.
You look like somebody who might want to survive, though.
Your friends, these pathetic creatures you surround yourself with, I will have them. Then I will take you, and you will be my way back home. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Hey, Eric, while all this is happening, since Wixel's been kind of off to the side quiet, can it be that I was trying to kind of hide in the shadows and
make
kind
a
of
stealth
prepare?
check.
All right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
but you can see.
Oh, Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can see the more you converse with this dragon. First of all, you've managed to engage him in dialogue because of Celestine.
Yeah.
But you can see the more concepts you put in front of him, and the more the options you're giving him, he seems to be slightly confused and stopping for a moment to consider what you're saying. And in your mind, you're beginning to remember, and this is something Grawl would know. This is where white dragons got a reputation for being slow. They're not. They just don't think 5 moves ahead. They're much more interested in the instant gratification of killing and hunting and being a dragon. This dragon looks like he's working it out. And you can see him kind of bouncing around what y'all are saying. The notion that he wants to survive, but you can see that wolf fighting the other wolf that just wants to kill all of you right now. What are you doing, Wixel?
Obviously not I'm not being very stealthy at all. So I'm just kind of sitting off to the side, listening intently and kind of prepping myself mentally, but not really stealthily.
Okay, so if you're saying you failed, it's not just "oops, I failed." The dragon's going to have spotted you trying to be sneaky. So if it's
I had to pee. I have a very small bladder.
Never mind then. You're fine.
I was looking for the.
Thought you were being sneaky.
Respect your elders. I mean, not that the dragons. No, No.
So what happens is, as this happens, the dragon suddenly his neck stiffens, and he just goes, and you see those eyes fall on Wixel immediately, and everyone kind of glances over. Wixel is like in the process of sneaking behind one of these giant piles of ice. Wixel, you kind of freeze for a moment as you realize the dragon has spotted you. And there's a brief moment where nothing happens. And
okay.
Yes, you've got a precious second to make a decision here.
A second. Do we know? Okay, quick question. Do we know what the thing that we're looking for looks like? Do we have like an actual?
You know that it's a pin. It was described as a simple pin that looked like it had like.
Are you saying
it was a
pin
feather.
as in PIN or pen?
PEN, like you write
pen.
with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's described as sort of like a calligrapher's feathered pen.
Okay.
Is the way it was described, and it's in here somewhere.
Okay.
It's made out of bone, a very thick, very peculiar looking bone.
Once the sort of like to Glamma, we've presented information, we've distracted him enough. We've been honest, and he's made up his mind as murder, kidnap, and relinquish. Basically, offer up.
He seems to be thinking that maybe, why do I need to trade anything? I'm going to kill all of you and take Celestine.
Okay, so
seems to be what he's saying.
I'm going to, so that he doesn't immediately just go and eat.
I had an idea.
You have an idea?
Well, I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if.
Well, you're probably gonna have to hold off for a second because your action was sort of stealthing. So now we're gonna see what Glamma can do.
I'm going to cast. Unseen Servant.
Gina, I'm just gonna give you a heads up. The moment you start casting a spell, we're going into combat because the dragon's gonna react to that, and it'll be an initiative roll.
Sure.
So if you're down, you can do it.
We should get more information. I was gonna try. Oh well.
Well, so I'm giving you this. I'm giving you this. This is sort of like the deep breath before the fight starts because the fight's probably coming anyway. So
the fight kind of seems like it's here.
It seems like it's inevitably coming at this point. But just so you know, like if you're going to start casting a spell, it's an initiative roll.
What information are you hoping to get, Bonnie?
Well, I was just going to distract him long enough to where I was going to play the feeble old woman of I was scared and trying to sneak off and trying to do it like a deception role of like
playing scared might not be the best thing to keep him calm.
Well, I'm not being scared, but like just being like, oh, it's not. Is it worth like attacking me first? Because obviously this old feeble woman won't get very far, and I'm just trying to like distract him long enough for all of you to. I don't know. It was
I can play into that. You know, multi distract. Celestine can get big.
Well, yeah, I was gonna try and.
I'll do a quick party check.
Okay.
Is everyone ready to fight, or would you like to continue talking to the dragon?
I want to make one attempt at convincing him.
So here's as As DM, I'll tell you this, because we're kind of up at the precipice here. No pun intended. You guys, whatever. If you're trying to persuade the dragon at this point, what's going to happen is if it is a failed roll, we're going into combat because y'all are kind of there. If you decide to drink the potion, we're going into combat. If you decide to cast a spell, we're going into combat. If you fail the roll, we're going into combat. If you succeed, you might be able to continue engaging him in more conversation. So whoever wants to tank that and give it a shot.
I have a high persuasion. I just want to know if there's
I
would be the one
party
talking.
face.
But
Right.
what do we want to learn?
Well, I was gonna say if you're gonna do the talking, if I could assist by rolling deception of pretending of playing the part of the of if Glamma's gonna act on this,
I'll give you. I'll tell you what.
because this is we're a party.
'Cause
I've played this card before of like, oh dear, this is horrible.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure, and that might have worked on creatures that didn't view you as food. But in this particular instance, what I'm going to say,
meat, dear, he's not going to get us. He's not even going to get it. I'm not even.
You don't
an
have to convince.
appetizer.
Wixel doesn't have to convince me. A white dragon sees a nice little chompy snack.
I'm very old. My meat is gross. And
you don't have to convince me.
Let me. Here I go.
So then, what I'm going to say, Bonnie, is because we're so used to playing games where assists are pretty common in the dice rolls.
Right.
What I'm going to do here is I will say, Gina, if you want to take an additional +2 as Wixel is going, where am I? Like kind of like trying to add some chaos to behind you. And if you want to try to get the white dragon's attention, you can make a shot for it.
Well, it seems that conversation it seems to be what the majority of the party wants to do, and I think since Glamma is making a temperature check of the room and seeing okay, no one's reaching for their weapons, and Wixel is doing the ooh woe is me. And
I have an idea. As I do the oh woe is me, I'm holding a ball of yarn because I'm just like oh woe is me, but hidden inside the ball of yarn is the growing potion. Because I know shit's about to go down, and I'm about to throw a little curveball, if you will, very soon.
Okay.
But I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so scared.
Okay.
Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah. Here we are.
I will attempt. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
I feel ya.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Playing off of Celestine's why not hunt? I think Glamma's going to step forward and sort of be very performative in the gesturing to,
oh, look at how pathetic the food is down here. And you want to grovel at the feet of the void who is going to come to this place and make you their servant, their child, their under. You to them will be their wormling. We give you the opportunity to hunt with fellow dragons, make you the king. Don't you wish to be the greatest?
Go ahead and make your persuasion check.
okay.
This is going to be a contested roll, so I'm going to make that roll now.
You got this, Glamma.
Okay.
Power.
What did you roll, Glamma? 12? No, it's Wixel. What are you rolling, Bonnie?
What? Am I rolling anything?
I saw you. I can see the game log when you guys roll dice on D&D Beyond. It's fine.
I just thought. Oh, that was like 20 rolls ago.
I
haven't rolled anything.
What did you roll, Glamma?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. 26.
26. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see. No, you wouldn't be able to.
Hell, I'm persuaded.
So I rolled a 2 minus 1 for his intelligence, so a 1.
Dirty one.
A dirty 1 from the white dragon.
Such pathetic food, barely worth the calories you burned to chew.
Honestly, my bones would probably just get stuck in your teeth.
So as you say this, Celestine, you feel violence is imminent. You see the body language. This dragon is about to tear into all of you. A life or death situation has exploded and it's about to happen when all of a sudden you see Glamma waddle in front of you and throw her flippers open and start making this case, shouting up at the dragon. And this white dragon cranes his head back again. You can see the vapors of ice begin to emanate from between his teeth as the frost begins to gather around his jaws. You can see a breath weapon that was about to erupt from his maw kind of like choke off for a second as he ponders what Glamma is saying. And you see that need for violence suddenly change, and the dragon's just
You deserve big violence.
What are you saying? That you can help get me back to the Isles?
We can deliver you to the void, the very thing that cast you away.
Why would I want you to deliver me to the void?
Not
so
deliver
you can hunt.
Yeah, deliver might not have been the best word.
You wish to give me to the void that moves so that I might hunt.
There's something in literature about destroying your maker, so you can become your own. You're living in a shadow, a very cave of it.
So here's what I'm going to do to speak to the benefit of what you've all done. I'm going to give you all 1 round that you wouldn't have gotten before combat begins, because
Glamma 100% knows she's just doing the distract the dragon.
that did it, because the dragon looks absolutely perplexed. Because in the dragon's mind, he's kind of like chewing on everything you said, but he looks completely bewildered by what you've said to him.
There are several like darting eyes to everyone and a little bit of shoulder shrugs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
What would everyone like to do? This is the time to like pound that potion back or whatever it is y'all are going to do. The dragon doesn't even seem to really be paying attention. He's kind of glancing off, kind of like it's hurting him for a second to like try to figure out. You said something that it had something in there that he wanted, but he's just kind of like,
why would I give myself to the thing that would kill me so that I might hunt this to go home? What?
I think I broke his brain.
He starts to shake it off. What is everyone going to do? You've got your 1 action here to set this up.
If we cast or drink anything, does that break initiative, or do we?
No, because you successfully you persuade checked and bought yourself that round.
I cast extreme confusion on him with my.
Essentially, instead of buying more information time with what you said, you persuaded him. But what you basically told him is the thing that's going to annihilate you all. You could go hunt with him, and the dragon, knowing that that's suicide, is like, yes, I could. Wait, why would I?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and cast Hunter's Prey on the dragon.
Okay, you'll be able to get that off.
Get that out of the way.
Is there a will save on that or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
There's no check on that.
Okay, you just focus.
It just happens.
Roll.
Or sorry, Slayer's Prey.
Yeah.
Prey.
You can feel the imminence of combat, and you just focus in on this dragon as he's moving and kind of pondering this, craning his head to the right. What is everyone else doing?
I look over at Celestine and I'm like, my sweet little one, time to throw and grow. And I'm gonna toss the little yarn ball.
Okay, a ball of yarn goes sailing through the air.
Catch, ill-advised, but crunch, gulp.
Smash, glass shatters all into your jaws, and you immediately begin to feel the power of that potion in your veins as your body begins to stretch out in front of you. What is everyone else doing?
I'm quickly casting Unseen Servant.
Okay. That is going to activate. Okay, Rumska, what are you doing?
Jeez. Well, let's see. I got those boots of like
Flight?
basically flying, so I wonder if I can. Can I Misty Step in
Yes,
the
that's a
air
bonus action.
behind him?
Yes, anything you can see. If you can lock onto, if you
Hell
can
yeah.
lock onto an area that you can see, if you're flying, you can Misty Step in that up in that direction. Yes.
Okay, so I guess like, yeah, Romska's going to just cast Misty Step like diagonally, like behind this dragon.
Leroy Jenkins, this.
Yes, but like as kind of stealthy a little bit, and just kind of like hang out by this a giant icicle.
Well, there's really nothing above him except if you try to latch onto the icicle. So that icicle. So, what's the range on Misty Step?
Misty Step is about.
Is it 60 or is it further than that?
Oh, I pressed jump. It's 30 feet.
So you're not going to make it to the ceiling. But you're not even getting close. But you can make it behind him. Yes, it's up to you.
He's 70 feet was the last distance increment we got, but
No,
he did come closer.
He did come closer. He is currently 45 feet away from all of you.
Love that. Perfect. Wonderful.
Okay.
So you can easily just dash forward a couple of feet and Misty Step if you wanted to. It's up to
I
you.
would also just like to step slightly out of cone range.
Yeah,
That's going to be
kinda
tricky.
like- I'll go off to
But
the
yeah.
left, like as far back to the left.
Splitting
of this
up?
dragon. Yeah, kind of splitting up.
Okay.
There's no convincing this dragon anymore, so
Yeah.
Romska's
Okay.
preparing.
I mean, I
All
don't
right.
think there
So
ever was.
each and every one of you basically, each and every one of you as this dragon's going like, wait, what the F? Kind of like trying to, because the bard has used that magnetic, powerful presence of persuasion, but has delivered to him the exact thing he does not want in the most convincing way. And he takes a moment to chew on that with a dirty one. He spends that few moments kind of like, yes, I want that. No, I don't know. Like, why am I talking to this penguin thing? Why am I not eating? Like, you can see him going through all of it. And that's when you were all starting to get sort of the impression like, no, maybe they are a little not able to construct long form thought, because is this white dragon just kind of ponders this for a second. When he comes back around and he sees what's happening, he goes, enough. And
Glamma cast logic.
yeah, and we don't have time to initiate combat tonight because we're at the end of the game session. So we are going to have to cliffhanger this till next episode, where we are going to be rolling initiative the moment we come back.
Things
Can
are
I give-
about to go down.
Can I give my unseen servant their command?
If you make sure to bookmark it and remember it for next episode, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
As the button of the episode?
Yeah, what is
I'm
it?
going to say,
Stay close, but find the pen.
Okay.
so I'm going to like imagine a quill, give that the command, and have this being able to search while we're fighting the dragon.
What's the range on Unseen Servant? Does it have 60 feet? So it's got to stay close, but it can search for it while you are. I'll give you real quick
Because I'm
before
going to
we
be
go.
moving, so all it has to do is stay around me and
Yeah.
search through the piles.
Roll a. I think this would be either honestly, I would say either a nature or I might say this is a nature check.
A nature check?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tell me what you get.
20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Hold on one sec. This is where I always get a little. What's your Arcana? Would that? I'm gonna. You know what?
My
I'm gonna
Arcana
revise
is
that.
much higher.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Arcana. It's one of these things where like,
Okay.
what do you know about what you're seeing? Oh, you know what? Scratch that. Make it investigation. That's what makes sense. That makes way more sense here. What's your investigation score?
Okay, then it's 22.
Okay, then you're great. Thing about white dragons, its hoard is going to be frozen in ice. So wherever this quill is, it might be underneath you. It might be in the walls.
As long as it
So-
can point, I can
Mhm.
heat.
You'll be able to, but that's where you will know where to look.
Yeah.
And as this dragon rears its head back and roars, that is where we are going to end the game as you were all looking up at this thing. Next session, we are going to be battling Kazada. Next session being episode 5 for us, which means it's the penultimate episode. That seems to suggest that this is the big boss fight of the campaign. So
I mean, was there ever any doubt?
I suppose that's true. Y'all are this white dragon has the key to the next piece of the puzzle of getting Celestine home and stopping the cult of the void that moves. So
Real quick, before we
Yeah.
end, I just want to state that when I was acting all feeble and, oh no, I'm just a sweet little old lady, you don't want to attack me, and oh, I'm so scared, I actually look like this.
with the hat and everything,
Yes, I'm
an
so
improvement from-
innocent.
eggplant, but only
No, nothing is an improvement on eggplant. You cease that slander.
Please, please, Mr. Dragon, I'm just so feeble with my little yarn. Okay, sorry.
That's gonna do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for another session of Star Jam.
Oh,
We will see you the next episode. Will be the penultimate episode of this little 6-part series. Find out how it's going to go. You never can tell. Thank you again to QueueTimes and Jake for setting us up this evening. And also thank you to all of our Coffee and Patreon supporters. Y'all are making it possible for us to continue telling stories and doing what we do. And we love you. Thank you so much, Ox Crew. Till next time, my friends.